Hello and welcome back to Aetheral Space 17.23, the opening of night. We are back. I have to apologise, guys.
Yeah.
It's a one chapter week this week because I was very tired.
Only one?
I told you this. I've told you this twice and you ignored me both times I said it.
No, you mentioned that you were tired this week and you didn't write much, but I thought that was just about it being a 9-page.
I also said it. I also told you directly. You disregarded it.
No.
But it's a one chapter week, I'm afraid.
That actually works better for me, because this last week kicked my ass.
Same. I imagine everyone in the audience is thinking the same, right?
Can I at least use your Aetheral Space episode to unveil my new bit character?
What's your new bit character?
So I have this new bit character that's called Ungrateful Bum. So let me give you the idea of how it works.
Is this like
right?
going to be a veiled insult at me for something I've forgotten?
No, this isn't anything.
Ungrateful bum.
This is just a funny character I invented.
Okay, so it's about.
So his bit is like he comes up to you, right? And he's like, "Hey man, look, things have been really hard for me right now. You know, I lost my job, my girlfriend left me. I hate to do this to you, I really do. But is there any way that I could just like stay on your couch for the weekend?" And of course, being a good friend, you're like, "Yeah, of course, man, you can stay with me for a little bit." And then he immediately becomes the worst guy ever. He's like, "Rub my feet. My feet hurt." You come home from work, he's like, "I ate everything in your fridge. I was hungry." He gets mad at your video games. He throws a controller at your TV, breaks the TV screen. He goes, "Why do you have such hard video games? You should have better video
I
games."
fucking hate this guy.
And then anytime you try to set a boundary, he's just like, "Wow, where's hospitality? Haven't you ever heard the guest is always right?" And he's just like instantly becomes the worst guy.
He's like, "Can I show you something?" And I take him to the folding machine in the basement.
You have one of those?
Yeah, to be folded.
I just love the idea of someone who like immediately like disrespects like gratitude. It's not an insult at you, but I was inspired by the thing you told me about how you used to apologize as a kid and then lose all guilt.
Yes.
I love the idea of like once you
The way
invite
you
the
said
guy
that
in,
makes me sound like a psychopath when you described it.
No. Like you were a kid. Kids are weird. But like
Well, I
that
never said I was a
inspired
kid,
the
but-
idea for me of guy who just like once he's been given the invite is instantly the worst guy ever. It just abuses your
It's
hospitality.
like a vampire.
Yeah. He's like a bum vampire.
Aren't all vampires
Anyway.
bums? Anyway.
Yeah, they kind of are low-key. They sleep in coffins. They don't go outside at the daytime.
I
They
just
don't
meant in the
have
modern
jobs.
parlance that Dracula's a fraud.
Anyway, shall we?
He's like, "Redwick, save me."
Who's Redwick? Wait, did I miss
Redwick.
something?
He's Dracula's little toady. He's a little guy.
Can I confess something?
You know around Dracula?
I've never read the original Dracula, yeah. I don't know anything about
Well,
it.
as long as you've seen the movie adaptations, you got. You've
I
seen
haven't
those, right?
seen the movies either.
Oh, well, Nosferatu is pretty similar, so as long as you've seen that, you got.
I haven't seen I really wanted to, though. We should watch it sometime. I'm a
Doing
bum.
tricks on it.
I don't know anything about Dracula other than he's supposed to be really strong.
Well, then it's alleged power level.
Well, yeah, because I had annoying friends in high school, and my experience would be they talk about real Dracula and like, he's even stronger in the original. They don't have all these vampire weaknesses they existed. And he could like control the weather.
Well, this is power scaling Dracula.
Yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Anyway, shall we continue with the actual Aether
Absolutely,
content? We're like
yes.
4 minutes in. Day 3, many years ago. The woman sobbed as she clutched... Wait, is it day 3 or is it many years ago?
Ooh, interesting.
The woman sobbed as she clutched her child to her chest. All around her, strewn across the ground like garbage, were the corpses of those who had once been the architects of Nermut's suffering. The foremen. Their goat masks broken, their red robes torn, they would never again demand the torment of the people in order to enforce their bottom line of profit. Slain in the forefall, their nightmare had ended. And yet, smoke rose from the blasted craters. Bodies of friends languished in the gutter. The city they had called home was nothing but a ruin. "It's over!" the woman cried, looking up towards the merciless black sky. "Although our freedom is won, what freedom is it save to die? Was our revolution against this despair truly only so we may meet its twin? Misery! A curse upon all the world!" She hugged her child even tighter, shivering in the cold of a hopeless future, the world turning dark around her. Except... "No!" cried out a bold voice from above. "This is not the end!" Her despair snatched away by the sudden sound of heroism, the woman snapped her head up in shock. Even her child opened his eyes to see, a soft gurgling giggle echoing through the ruins. They weren't alone. One by one, more and more people trickled in from out of sight, ragged, wounded, but looking up at the source of that sound in reverence. Framed by an incandescent amber light, Zephyr Pandershi stepped forth as a silhouette. Tall and solid, his white and orange hair made wild from the long war, his white coat billowing in a newfound wind. Spreading his arms wide, he addressed the crowd below. "With the end of the war comes the end of our story? Nonsense! This is just the beginning, the foundation of Nermut's glory. The foremen have fallen, their depravity excised from this world. What expressions could you wear, good folk, if not the brightest of smiles?" The crowd erupted into cheers. The woman sobbed in joy as she held up her child, letting him get a better look at the man that had saved the world. Even some of the corpses, save those of the foremen, of course, rose to their knees and began to applaud. Wait, what? Oh, is this like a simulation he made? For a moment, Zephyr Pandershi just took it all in, his arms still spread wide as if to beckon the cheering into his body. Soon enough, though, that sound began to fade. It was replaced by the delicate sound of a piano, and Zephyr Pandershi took a deep breath. Oh, I know. What world waits for us now, you ask? You ask? Pandershi sang from the bottom of his heart. Dragana Hadrian looked on, deep in a despair of her own. It's a musical? Oh, is he singing too? As the stage erupted into choreographed dancing. Do you have some singing I can sing for you?
No, I'm sorry, I'm afraid not.
And Pandershi's song echoed through the grand theater. Dragana leaned back in her seat. When the Seelie Rangers had herded the attendees into this room before anything else, she'd honestly expected Pandershi to launch right into his announcement, but it seemed he was performing a musical history lesson instead. She was pretty sure that was actually one of his bodies, too, and not an actor. This was going to be a long night. Hidden by the darkness of the seating section, Dragana flicked through the program she'd been given. Apparently, there would be an intermission directly after the founding of Zepan scene, so that would be her chance. She'd break off from the rest of the audience and begin her infiltration from there. For the time being, though, she just had to sit here and endure. How do you like my singing? Zephyr Pandershi smirked, leaning back in his seat, relaxing in his default extension while another performed on stage. It's very good, Nine smiled. Ha ha. The two of them were sitting up on an elevated platform, watching the production from on high. One star dutifully standing guard at the door behind them. By any stretch of the imagination, these were the best seats in the house. At Nine's words, though, Pandershi's smirk faded into a frown. You don't like it? He asked, a voice low. Nine blinked as he looked over at Pandershi, cocking his head curiously. I just said it was very good, though. Did you not hear me?
I would like to apologize to my girlfriend.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cheat. I just couldn't help myself.
Yes, Pandershi slowly nodded. You did say it was very good. But then you also said, ha ha. Why? Why did you say that? What's so funny?
Oh,
Nine scratched his cheek bashfully.
That's just a little tick I have. Not an aether tick, of course, but just something I do. I'm so sorry for the misunderstanding.
Pandershi's eyes were still narrowed in suspicion, but eventually he turned back to look at himself on stage. Tonight is absolutely vital, he said quietly. I'm about to unveil the very future here, the shape of this world now and forever. I need to remind everyone of the past that led us here, the ladder I've climbed for them. My whole life has led to this point. I hope you understand the importance of that.
Of course,
Nine smiled. For another moment, Pandershi just watched in silence, but in the end he couldn't help himself. You're not wearing the suit I made you, he muttered. I said you're not wearing the suit I gave you, Pandershi snapped. Why? Did you not like it? Fashion is one of my doctorates, you know. You don't seriously believe that ragged cloak of yours is more appealing than one of my creations, do you? Nine smiled softly to himself. Zephyr Pandershi truly was in a bad mood, and on today of all days, on what should have been his occasion of triumph. Well, that was fine. Nine knew for a fact that he'd be in a much worse mood by the end of the night anyway. That beast had appeared after all. One of his insects had seen it. Not that Nyan had mentioned anything about that, though. He was no tattletale.
I'm sorry,
Nyan said cheerfully, running the back of his head. Running?
Rubbing. It should be doing that. Sorry.
Your aesthetic is so nice, but it's really quite different from my own. A bright white suit just wouldn't suit me, don't you think?
Pandershi snorted, looking away. I didn't really care that much anyway.
Baka.
You can do as you like, Baka. You should appreciate tonight, at any rate. You're going to be busy starting tomorrow.
Oh?
Nyan raised his eyebrows. Pandershi's usual smugness reasserted itself as he squirmed back into his seat. A few minutes ago, I finished extracting the data we needed from Sagittarius, he said. I'll keep the sample around for a while, just in case, but from here on, the baton is in your hands, my dear Nyan.
You certainly work quickly,
Nyan replied. People always agonize over quality and quantity, Pandershi chuckled, acting as if you can't have one without losing the other. My very existence is the utmost in both quality and quantity. Please don't embarrass yourself by thinking of me like a normal person.
I'd hate to be embarrassed, Nyan smiled, so I think I'll follow your advice.
I used to think that little Oe would be the one to do this for me, Pandershi said vaguely, resting his chin on his hand as he looked at his ward in the audience below. But in the end, your Ahura Mazda's better suited to the task than her black brush. Like I said, Dark Star, enjoy the party. He grinned, and the Pandershi on the stage broke into a thunderous crescendo. It's the last we're like to need. Harry Phantasm, skipping out on the theater production, took a healthy sip of his drink as he saw... can I be honest with you?
Yeah?
You might not know this character. Harry Phantasm, I don't know why, but for some reason when I think of him, I just think of Bobobo.
Oh, yeah?
That's who Harry Phantasm is in my head, is Bobobo, with like the afro and the sunglasses and the nose hairs. Ever since he'd arrived back in Oberon, he'd barely gone 30 seconds without some form of liquor in his hands. It was probably a disastrously bad idea for Temperance's jailer to be so inebriated all the time, but to tell the truth, Phantasm didn't seem terribly concerned with the status of Temperance at all. He threw himself back into the couch, arms wide as if to embrace invisible escorts. His usual companions were at Pandershi's party, so this was an unusual occasion in which Harry Phantasm was alone. Or at least, he thought he was. After all, Dragoon de Fleur lurked in his shadow, silently considering his next move. This situation wasn't ideal, but it wasn't exactly terrible either. Some tiny, optimistic parts of Dragoon's brain had been hoping that Phantasm, being an important person, would have some business with permutation and walk right up to it of his own accord. Clearly not. This man's work with automatics didn't seem to cross paths with the esoteric world of Aether much at all. There was a good chance that he'd just stay here the rest of the night, drinking himself to whimsy. In which case, the time had come for Dragoon to abandon his vehicle. It happened as Phantasm leaned forward to put his glass down on the table. It was the strangest thing. Most people understood that their back was naturally the weakest point, but very few were capable of extending that suspicion to their own shadow, that which permanently trailed behind them. That, more than any blade, was what truly killed Dragoon de Fleur's targets. The execution was mechanical and thorough. Oh, that means Temperance is going to be on the loose. Dragoon de Fleur pushed himself out of Phantasm's shadow, upper body first, and seized tight hold of the scientist by his hair. The knife came before Phantasm could even scream. It was like opening a paper bag. The blade glided over the flesh of Phantasm's throat, opening it wide and spraying blood over the table. Droplets dissolved into what remained of his drink. Phantasm tried to whirl around to break free of Dragoon's grip, and Dragoon allowed it. It was a convenient position. The moment Phantasm was facing Dragoon, the assassin hopped fully out of his shadow and lunged forward, driving his bloody knife right through Phantasm's ribs to pierce his heart. The man's eyes rolled up into his skull as his vital functions ceased, but Dragoon de Fleur's work was not done yet. He appreciated certainty. With a sweep of his leg, he sent Phantasm's dying body down to the ground. Before his victim could even finish falling, however, Dragoon had already struck. Twice, fast, like bites from a snake. His blade rammed through each of Phantasm's eyes in turn, skewering them and striking his brain directly. By the time the crash of body hitting table sounded out, Harry Phantasm was already thoroughly dead. Not a spark of aether had appeared to save him. This man's enemies had been machines and programs. This was probably the last way he'd expected to go, stabbed to death by a fellow human. "Sorry," Dragoon DeFleur mumbled shamefully, squatting atop the blood-soaked couch. "So sorry." This was proof right here. This poor man had been minding his own business, enjoying a drink, and Dragoon DeFleur had murdered him solely for momentary convenience. What sort of creature would do this? If Dragon Hadrian had never existed in the first place, this man would still be alive. This was why his mission was so important. The destruction of permutation, and with it all versions of Dragon Hadrian, real and fake. "Sorry," he continued, looking down at the still corpse. "I wasn't able to save you." Bitter tears.
Crazy thing to say to the guy you just killed.
Bitter tears sprung to Dragoon's eyes, but before he could lose heart, he felt the shiver of something within his aether. Without missing a beat, he held out a hand. "Guardian Entity, Yatagarasu!" Dragoon's original version of this guardian entity had been devoured by Nararihion in the desert, but it hadn't taken him long to create a new one for communication. It was an exceedingly simple ability, after all. Dragoon put the squirming Narecrow to his ear like a script. "Hello?"
Mushy
he
mushy.
said. "Mushy mush!" Nararihion's voice came back, just slightly more expressive than Dragoon remembered. "Are you in?" "Mm-hmm." Dragoon nodded, even though Nararihion surely couldn't see him. "I had to kill a guy, though. He was a good guy. I feel bad." "That's fine. Don't forget what you're here for. Retrieve any information they have on the other variants, and confirm the location of permutation. Understand?" Of course, Dragoon wouldn't be doing either of those things. Lying was bad, he knew that, but he had his own plans. He'd be destroying permutation tonight and putting an end to this ritual for good. "Yeah," Dragoon mumbled. "Good," Nararihion said. "Then get to it." Dragoon nodded vaguely again, releasing his grip on his guardian entity and letting it dissipate into aether. Then he fell backwards into his own shadow once more. His infiltration had begun. Popcorn?
Yeah, sure. Nararihion flew over Ward 1 as a white speck against a white sky, made nearly invisible by the place's overbearing aesthetic. Rocky, what's up?
Poor
Sorry.
Rocky.
Rocky's weeping profusely.
It's hard for him to watch Harry Phantasm die.
His pale blue eyes scanned through the celebrating. He's created 1,000 Harry Phantasms. His pale blue eyes scanned through the celebrating crowds, calm and serene, but with a clear and sharp intent just beneath the surface. While DeFleur was dealing with things in Oberon, Nararihion had matters of his own to attend to. There. His eyes focused on one of the things he was looking for. The colour of his hair was different, but the information Nararihion had on Atomizazi made his visage unmistakable. It seemed a group of partygoers had roped the swordsman to a long conga line, and he was taking part with an expression of great turmoil on his face. That was fine. He could remain there. As Nararihion was now, he was in no condition to face the Atomizazi he had observed in the city ring. He needed to acquire more variants before then. As far as Nararihion knew through his connections, 9 Hadrians remained. 3 of those were in Ruth Blaine's group, Aquarius, Taurus, and Pisces. Another 2 constituted Nararion's group, himself and the Freak. The Dragon and Sagittarius were in the custody of Aether Pandershi, out of reach. But left 2 independent variants accounted for, Capricorn and Virgo. Virgo would likely be easy to acquire once it was located, but the recent string of missing Sealy Rangers suggested that Capricorn was quite fearsome. Best to stick to easy pickings this early in the game. There and there.
I can hear poor Rocky in the background.
What's going on, dog? He's
sad.
Can you entertain him for like a second while I get him like a treat?
Yeah, this poor boy, dude, he's suffering. You keep him in a cage, trapped inside. I don't know if he's in a cage or not. No Rocky has ever suffered this much. Well, hey guys, we don't get to talk very often. I'd like to make an earnest request. I haven't said it in a while, but if you haven't yet... Oh, never mind.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Yes, where was I? Sorry.
You were at
There and there. Nerarion
Yes,
smiled
there.
softly as he spotted the next two he'd been looking for. Ruth Blaine in the midst of the teeming crowds, and the captain lurking on a nearby rooftop. All of the enemy's most combat-capable members were here to support Pisces, which left Ward 8 an easy feast for one such as him. Leo
Which
Rain.
one's Pisces again?
Pisces is a Dragana.
Oh.
Leo Rain. Nerarion vanished in a shower of blue sparks. What incompetent acquaintances he has, this Dragon Hadrian.
Oh, was he never Dragon Hadrian?
Huh, what could this mean?
Maybe he's the administrator of the ship or whatever. Maybe he's Akamanto.
Would you like to go back to...
I do find it interesting because we also have the Dragon that's just piloted by Red Panacea. Like, these alternate Dragons don't even have to be Dragon. They can just be people piloting his body.
Dragon.
Yeah. For a while, Dragana Hadrian had been wondering if she had a soul. After all, she was something born from Helis Audrey's mad aether and Zephyr Pandershi's mad science. It would be a stretch to call her human rather than some kind of homunculus. She didn't need to wonder anymore. She definitely had a soul. She could feel it dying the longer this play went on. Pandershi's childhood, raised by his mother and uncle. Pandershi growing up under the oppression of the Foremen, Nermut's previous rulers. Pandershi building weapons and leading a revolution. Pandershi creating the city of Zipan, naming it after himself. Pandershi accepting the praise and admiration of those he had saved. We love you, we love you, we love you. That part of the play had audience participation, and Dragana could especially feel her soul dying then. The production recapped episodes from Pandershi's life through song and dance, all of the lottery winners around Dragana watching with rapt attention. No doubt, having grown up in Zipan, they had heard all of these stories countless times. At this point, they held the same importance in their minds as gospel. Do they even know what gospel is in the history-lost future of Aetheral Space?
There's a final church, yeah.
But gospel is like specifically like a word in the context. It means like good news in, I want to say Hebrew or maybe Latin.
Oh, well, it's gone through the ringer.
Just hold on until the intermission. Just hang in there. It was beginning to dawn on her that the intermission wouldn't be interrupting the play halfway through. More likely, they'd just restart the play for a second time after the intermission. There was no way Dragana could sit through this for a second time. She had to get out of here.
This is the most effective attack in the arc so far. is the play.
Yeah, this is the shit Kot should have been doing to Dragon in Arc 7. My anti-cogitant weapon. Every act of Pandershi's play. It was so... I lost my place. It was beginning to dawn on her that the intermission wouldn't be interrupting the play halfway through. More likely, they'd just restart the play for a second time after the intermission. There was no way Dragana could sit through this for a second time. She had to get out of here. She was just thinking that as the last song began to trail off and the stage lights began to brighten. The cast gathered to bow to the audience, and the audience dutifully applauded. It was so loud that Dragana could barely hear herself think. This had to be the intermission, right? She was just about to stand up when a new person appeared on the stage. A second Zephyr Pandershi, different from the one who had been performing up until now. Just like Dragon Hadrian, Zephyr Pandershi came in many shapes and sizes, although his were all of the same mind. The second Pandershi stood at the front of the stage, smiling as he looked down at the audience. This one was clad in a flowing white robe, and his white and orange hair was long too, the fringe hanging low enough to cover his eyes. The smile on his lips projected nothing but utmost benevolence and serenity. This was the visage of a prophet, and the words he spoke suggested he thought of himself as nothing less. "Love," said Zephyr Pandershi. "Let me speak of the love that blooms in my breast for you. You know well that I am not a person with a single form. My mind, my consciousness, is spread among 26 vessels, 26 brains that elevate my thoughts, already deeper and more layered than any other, to an even higher level. Let me tell you now, if I were to take the countless thoughts that run through all of my heads at every moment and replace them with a new inner monologue, the word love over and over again, and accelerate it such that it were repeating googles of times every second, it would not equal the tiniest fraction of the love I feel for all of you right now. You are my people. You are my pride. From the day I was born it was such, and until the day you die it will be such. I love you. I love you all. That is the core of my very existence. Love. Love. As Pendershi rambled on, Dragana glanced around her, and saw that each and every citizen of Zepan had tears brimming in their eyes. Breaths were shaking, lips were trembling, euphoria flowed through the audience as if they'd all been dosed with something, a religious experience. In this moment she was sitting not in a theater but a chapel. The idol on the stage before her spread his arms wide once more, hushing the crowd. But you know this, Pendershi chuckled. Of course you know this. I love you, and you love me. Why would we need to say it all aloud? The other lights on the stage shut off, one by one, leaving Pendershi alone under the spotlight. For a dreadful moment, Dragana thought he was about to start singing again. But no. When he opened his mouth, it was to launch into another speech. I tell you this today, he said softly, because I have been stingy in my love. A ripple of confusion ran through the crowd, but Pendershi raised a hand to silence it. Zepan is the closest thing to heaven in this world, he said. In this place, all are protected, all are supported, all are nurtured. If we consider Zepan to be a grand experiment, then it is an experiment that has succeeded beyond all expectations. I have created paradise, and as such, it is my duty to spread that paradise to all corners of creation. The spotlight went out too, and so the only illumination on the stage, the only light in the dark world, was Zephyr Pendershi's crackling amber aether. First, he said, I will speak to you of Panacea.
Oh dear.
What's he got in mind? Can someone shoot this guy?
You need 26 bullets.
Worth
He comes
it.
out like, I'd hate to be that guy.
Or just one of what's-her-face as a Clima's hate bullet, hate arm, curse hand. That's the one.
I better not piss off the climber, or I'm finished.
I'm finished. Exactly. All right. God, we have so many Aether questions to catch up on. We might be fucked.
What? This is good to be a backlog of Aether questions. I don't understand why you're so scared.
Rock Shark asks 2 questions. 1. If you augment your body with technology like a cyborg, can you raise your upper limit for Aether usage?
There are certain materials that like withstand Aether coming through, that like flowing into the world through them more effectively. So if you have like really good materials, you could probably get like a better result. Like some of the Paradisus that can use Aether, they have like really high spec like material for their automatic bodies. They would probably
Aether
be
conductive.
Yeah, they'd probably have like they'd be like upper tier if they ever like did anything.
Second question from Rockshark is there a noticeable difference between an old person with a frailer body versus a person at their prime and their upper limit of Aether usage?
Yes, Ash Daldaran is a case study of this.
Okay, so his Aether is crazier because he's so old.
Well, because he can like, but like, he already had pretty crazy Aether, but he can like use it. He can actually use it in a young body.
Right. Lan asks,
and also because
burn
he's in a young
affect
body,
you?
he can use more of it than an older person could.
Ooh. Lan asks, does that imply that the Cadman we saw wasn't even prime Cadman because he was old?
I would say he didn't really age at the same rate as a normal person would, so he was perhaps a little bit outside of his prime, but it wouldn't be that noticeable a difference with him specifically because of that, along with his Aether tick. So that reduced the effects of that quite a bit.
Lan asks, does an Aether burn affect your whole body equally, or does it only target the parts you're infusing?
It can it targets whatever you're pouring the Aether into usually. When it's your own body, if you focus I'm bringing all the Aether out and infusing into my hand, that hand is the one that's going to suffer the after effects.
Okay, I gotcha. Room has 2 questions. One is, has any non-Arcana automatic unlocked Aether? If not, which would you say is the closest?
Yes, the Paradisus, they are effectively automatics. They just are more like artificial intelligences that hop into an automatic body, but some of them have Aether.
Okay. And then Room also asks, we know the Arcana automatics are very advanced even by modern standards, but are the minor Arcana too, if there are many/any around still?
They were very much the foot soldiers. They were cheap and simple and easy to build, but although some of them were pretty strong, they probably would not hold up as much without the major Arcana telling them what to do and directing them. That was the scary part of them.
I gotcha. Lan asks, if Aether glitches require you not being aware of them during the ability's creational work, does that mean subconscious/natural abilities can come out glitched from the beginning? If not, why not?
Yes, they can come glitch out from the game. That's why you'll see like a couple of times when someone starts an ability, it's usually cracked sometimes. Because like if a climber like got her Aether and was like, I want to make an ability that when I touch someone it fucks up their Aether like no matter what they're in, kills them in like 10 seconds. You probably couldn't have managed that consciously.
Right. Wiser asks, having more bodies doesn't increase Pandoshi's Aether output by itself. If Pandoshi Aether burns, does the damage affect all bodies or only the one doing the burn?
He does have some good effects from his little setup because his consciousness, the light, the mind the light comes into, is in all those bodies, so he can probably like channel more Aether at once, split between the bodies.
Oh, okay. JT asks,
but if he did Aether burn, it would specifically be the body doing the burn. So he could like use them up to like go cracked for a little bit.
JT asks my favorite question. I was really excited to get to this one. Does every Dragon variant have their own archivist? And I'm going to extend that to Ask Archive. And if so, can we get some examples of them?
Well, yeah, absolutely. We've already seen Dragana's archivist.
Yeah. It's like mean little girl, Dragana.
Yeah. So I don't want to go into much individual questions because we're probably going to see some of these throughout the arc.
Are any of them nice or are they all really mean?
Well, Dragana's in that moment was mean because she was feeling down. So hers scales depending on her mood, basically.
Oh, okay. Whereas we haven't seen Dragons in a very long time, but his was always kind of a shitter.
Yeah. He's sort of
I remember
like
though he got like
Prince
old. He got old for a bit during Dragon's big moment in Arc 11. Like usually he's a kid, but he was like old Dragon.
Yeah, he's been sort of like the Prince is sort of like in that position as well right now. So there's sort of like he's gone quiet because the Prince is the one like who shows up looking doing the blue eyes stir.
Right. And do they also have different archives? Because I know Dragon's has like a generic library, but like I remember you talked about how Cogitants can have like.
Well, yeah, that's just what he likes.
ones.
Yeah, it's a mind palace basically. So
yeah,
that's just what he has for his.
I'm very curious what Dragon's looks like. I hope it's a waterfall he sits under. And his archivist is just rocks on
an actual dragon for his archivist.
Yeah. Welcome back, master.
Like, that guy looks strong, boss.
I really want to meet some of the others. So you have to tell us, because he's already dead, what was Fix's? Or not Fix's, Don Hadrian's.
Don Hadrian's would have been like a butler, very servile, submissive archivist, it would have been.
What was his archive like, I wonder?
I think it would have probably been like a bar that from Crestpool that he was at the frequented.
And all the files or drinks he has to partake of.
Yeah. Well, you just maybe like
fun.
glasses arranged on the body, like taps his finger in to get the information.
That's fun. I like that. All right, let's move on from that one. Oh yeah, that was just me pinging about that. I'm also putting this forward, and if it's not true, that's fine. But I hope Nararihion has a super eerily empty archive. Like you go in and there's just like nothing there.
We'll have to find out more. Well, I would say what I'll say is from the start of this arc into right now, it probably looks different.
Okay. All right, let's cut it off there because there's a bunch more. I don't want this to drag too long, but thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.